Well, hello everyone. This is Linda with lindasueplantsforyou. I have so many things to share with my viewers. I don't even know where to start. So let's begin with the obvious. What you're looking at here is a fern. Well, let's start with this little guy. And remember the other day when if you saw my video, my repotting propagation video on my jade, variegated jade. This guy somehow got loose and was laying on my table behind something that I have on my table. And I just found it today when I was making room to do this video. And just look at the roots. It wasn't even in soil. So again, the jade plants, they are so easily propagated. Now, I want to just remind you, before you propagate these, you want to make sure that they're well watered. They don't have to be, the soil doesn't have to be wet when you propagate them, but the leaves need to be plump and firm because that keeps the leaf alive until the roots form. And as you can see, it almost looks like there's two more plants coming out from the bottom of there. I don't want to touch them, but that's what it looks like to me. So we're going to set this aside, and I'll probably just lay it on a plate and see what it's going to do. But I wanted to show you that because I thought it was really interesting. Okay. Most of you know that I'm not able to drive right now, and in addition to that, in addition to my normal health issues, I broke both of my arms and shattered my shoulder back in June. So you can understand when I tell you that on top of the normal fears everybody has on the COVID issue, I am really petrified right now to go out in public. But having been a very busy real estate agent for many years, it's been really, really tough on me to be housebound. And I got to the point last week where I needed to get out of the house regardless of the risk. And I'm sure you can all understand that. So I wanted to preface that with that just to let you know, because I know I do mention a lot that I'm not able to get out. I do get out occasionally, but it's very rare. The last time I left the house, besides for my doctor appointment, was in late fall. Around, I take that back. It was Christmas, the week after Christmas. We did go by my daughter's, but that's it. We went by my daughter and came back home. And prior to that, it was before Thanksgiving. So this was an important day for me, and it was for my daughter and myself to have some, mommy me time together. And she was excited about it as well. So we decided to go to Stein's Garden Center and to Lowe's. Lowe's is, or typically has been, one of my favorite places to buy plants. But I don't know, the last couple times that I went there, my husband reminded me that there was very little to choose from, and they were being hovered by fungus gnats. Now, although I have a surefire way of getting rid of fungus gnats, I don't want to deal with them, and I don't want them back. So I wasn't willing to chance it. I could have brought one home, and they had some beautiful, beautiful begonias, good size ones. It was either a 6 or 8, I think a 6-inch pot. And the leaves were huge, and they were cane begonias. I forget the kind. It looked like a lucerne, but it had the pink dots, so I forget the name of that. But anyway, that one, I was so tempted to bring it home. It was only $19.95 or something like that. Very inexpensive for that kind of plant. And it wasn't anywhere near the other plants, so I didn't see any bugs around it, but there were so many just 15 feet away from there that I was sure that there could be eggs in that soil. So I passed it up And I was sad because it took so much for me to get out of the car, into the store, over to that department. It's really really a job for me. So anyways, we left there. I said, let's go try Stein's. It's right down the street. So we went to Stein's. And although they didn't have any bug problems, they didn't have many plants to choose from. The cupboards were bare. And, but I did, that brings me to this plant. I literally sat on my walker and went up and down the aisle the one aisle at Stein. It's like the width of the store. They've got a lot of plants in there normally. But I couldn't stand that long, so I just sat there and I kept staring, looking for something to bring home. I so wanted to bring home a new plant, and there was just nothing. I either already had it, or it was very sad looking, or it was really overpriced. I could not believe the prices of those plants that they did have. They were like 5 times what they were last year, and my friends, I am not exaggerating. My mouth dropped. I even looked at the poor young man that was working there, and I said, what is going on with these plant prices? He said, yeah, I know we're getting a lot of complaints. Well, yeah, I should say so. But anyways, there were 2 of these. Most of you plant people will probably recognize what this is, but I didn't know what it was. It was familiar to me, but I couldn't place what it was. And there were 2 of them. So for $3.99, I thought, well, you know what? For $3.99, we're going home with something, right? And I had said in my last couple of videos that I would not take a plant out of the bag in my house until it's been here for at least 2 weeks to make sure that we don't have any plant issues. Well, I got home and realized I can't do that because this thing was so waterlogged. I literally took it out of the pot and went like this, and water dripped out of it. So I quickly took it out. I wrapped some paper towel around the roots. I soaked up as much as I could get. I left it sitting on a paper sack, and that thing was soaked in the morning. So then I took and put it on this terracotta tray and stuck it in my south window in direct sunlight on its side, like so. And needless to say, it dried out within a few hours. What I don't know is how much damage has been done to the roots. I think it's going to make it, so I'm going to do my best to fix this up, but I wanted to just let you know, normally I do a really thorough inspection when I buy a new plant, but because of the situation, we didn't realize it till we got them home. And then after it dried out, I realized there was another issue. And I know that this is done for cost-saving measures and what have you. But here we go again with these. If you can see this, I hope you can see this. This is a netting, and these are, what's the name of them? They're called, oh, and you're all screaming it at me. I can hear you. Well, plugs. And I know it's used for ease of planting and cost saving and what have you, but very often these mesh things do not disintegrate like they're meant to do. I've had quite a few plants in my lifetime where they started to die, and I couldn't figure out what's wrong until I completely took the root system apart and found one of these plugs so tight around the roots that they couldn't get out. So it does not, in my experience, it doesn't work more often than it does. So just a reminder, you might want to check your root system. For those of you who don't, you might want to take the time to do that again, because they're, at least in my area, my neck of the woods, they're doing it again. See, so here's another piece. Now, in this case, it wasn't quite as bad because it did start to disintegrate, and it is starting to come apart. But they don't always do that. So, and I still don't like it in there because I just don't like it. It's just not supposed to be there. And I don't want to wait for it to dissipate. Oh boy. And now I think hubby is going to be cutting up the wood from the trees that he cut down last weekend. So I sure hope that's not too loud on your end or too annoying, because I don't know how long he's going to be doing it. Yeah, that's pretty loud. Alright, I think we can get through this okay. It's not going to be a real long video, so I hope you guys will forgive that noise, and hopefully it's not too loud. Okay. Anyway, then I asked the little guy, I asked the young man that was working there what kind of plant this was, and he didn't know. He had to go back and check, but he did. Very nice guy. And he came back and said it's a Japanese curly fern. And I said, oh yeah, right, curly fern. I recognize that. And then I'm looking at it again, and I'm thinking, boy, that almost looks like my kangaroo paw fern. So when I looked up Japanese curly fern, this is the part I wanted to tell you, because there's different Japanese ferns. And I didn't find anything that said curly. They all said crispy wave. And there are some that are very thin. There are some that are very thick, and I do believe I have a thick one already. But they're called anything from Japanese bird's nest fern, which I have, and it doesn't look anything like that. Crispy wave fern, kangaroo fern, elbow fern, Pteris critica, or critica. It looks like the pronunciation is on the last segment, which I wanted to just show you a picture of it. And that's also under Japanese fern. So I don't think that's what this is. It doesn't look like it. I'm sure it's not. I'm going to go with just crispy leaf or curly leaf fern. It also doesn't look like a bird's nest anything. It's got a lot of shoots coming out the middle. My experience with my bird's nest fern is there's only one center point. So if anybody can help me out and tell me what you think, I would love to hear it. Okay, that's enough about that. I am about to plant that, and I'm going to put it in this beautiful little white pot. Now I hear what you're saying. You're all of my friends are right now saying, but you don't like white pots. It isn't that I don't like them. I just prefer not to have them in my house, because when you start getting a lot of white pots together, you see the white before you see the plant. And my house is not contemporary. I have seen beautiful, beautiful displays of white plants. I'm sorry, white pots that I love. But my house is not conducive to that. I have a very eclectic home. I'm older, so I have a lot of antique type things. They just really don't fit in. But I couldn't pass this one up. This cute little, it's a clay pot, which is what really got to me. As soon as I felt that in my hand, I felt connected to the earth. There's just something about. And my daughter saw these, and she fell in love, and she's like, oh, Mom, those are so beautiful. So I got one for her, too. But that's where this guy is going, right in here. And I think he's going to be beautiful. Then I need to find a spot for him where he's going to be happy. So I'm going to plant that up shortly. But before I do, I wanted to show you the rest of my finds here. I did also get the gray terracotta, which that does fit in my house in certain areas. Not in every room, but in certain areas. The clay, it's a little darker than it looks like it is on the screen here. But I got 2 sizes, and then I got some terracotta too. But the terracotta, they were so short on again. The sizes that I needed, they didn't have the saucers again. So that was my trip. I did get saucers for all these, however. So I was happy about that. But when my bill rang up and I got the total, I almost fell over. I said, wait, something's got to be wrong there. And then as it turned out, the clay saucers for these pots were $4.98 a piece. $20 just for the saucers, not the pots. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys are finding that where you are, but that seems to be a more and more common thing around these parts. Even last year, summer and fall, a few other stores that we went to, the saucers cost more than the pot itself. And I guess that's because they know you need them. Now, I could use something else. I could put something else under there, but I don't want to. I want the saucer to match the pot if there is one. So I bit the bullet and just said, that's all right. Just leave them on there. I haven't been spending any money. I haven't been buying plants. So my daughter kind of reminded me of that. Bless her heart. She said, Mom, you haven't bought any plants. You haven't spent any money on yourself. You don't go anywhere. Just buy them. So I did. All right. So I'm going to stick this little guy in here now that he's dried out and his little netting is off of his poor little roots. They're very fine roots, and like I said, they're very vulnerable right now because they were so wet. And I don't know for how long they were that wet. I wish the stores would teach their employees how to take care of these plants. It really breaks my heart when I see things like that, because I know they're going to end up in the garbage, and it's needless. Not only is it sad because the plant's going to die, but it costs money. And the stores never take a loss. They just pass it on to the customer. So it's not good for us either that they don't take care of them. And I will say, I did notice last year in the outdoor section at Lowe's, they had little signs up around the succulents. Do not water, do not water, do not water. Everywhere. So they must have designated, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people to take care of those. But they finally got wise and probably realized, hey, these things are dying because every time they change shifts, what do people want to do when they're working? They want the easy job, right? Stand there with a hose. That's more fun than stacking the shelves with heavy pots and soil and what have you, right? So you're going to pick that job. So yeah, I'm glad to see that they're finally doing something about that. And I know a lot of people agree with me. They just get so sad when they see plants that are going to end up in the garbage because of lack of care. Now I want to tell you that these leaves yesterday were not like this. They were perky and healthy looking. So I know as soon as I give her a drink, within an hour, if not less, she'll be back to being perky. What I don't know is how much damage there was to the roots. And I really don't want to stress it out anymore. I was going to run it underwater just to see But I was kind of afraid to, because I didn't want the, I didn't want to stress it out anymore. So I'm just going to give this a little water and a little light. I do know that the ferns, if this is what I think it is, they don't like direct sunlight. So I think part of the reason this is looking like this is because I had her in direct sun, because I was trying to dry out those roots. So I'm pretty sure she's going to be okay. And I'll do an update on her later. What was the other thing I wanted to tell you? Oh, I came across by accident a video today of somebody dipping the end of a cutting of Florida Beauty into wax. And I thought, what the heck is she doing? And I watched it, the whole thing, and then I tried to find more. And there was only 1 or 2 more videos on that. And I guess I've never heard of this. And I'm surprised because I've been raising plants all my life. But apparently there's a thing now where they take, when you take a cutting from a plant, you dip the very bottom of it, the edge of it, into melted wax, making sure it's not too hot, and then let it cool before you put it in water. So I would like to hear more about that. If there's anybody out there that has done this, please feel free to comment and with detail, because I would love to try that, and I would love to pass that information on to others. So that's the other thing. And then, what was the other thing? There were a few things I wanted to talk to you about today. I guess that's it for now. And I guess that's enough. Just basically wanted to show you what we got here in my new pots. So I think she's cute, isn't she? I'm going to find a spot for her. Okay, well, you all have a great rest of your day. It's already going on 4 o'clock here. And I'll have to edit this and get it loaded, and hopefully you'll be able to see it tonight yet, if not tomorrow morning. And I have quite a few other updates that I'm going to be doing here, hopefully, in the next couple of days, that I want to bring to you and let you know how things are going. So do come back, and if you like my videos, hit the subscribe button or give me a thumbs up if you just like this one. That does help my channel, and it helps me too, because then I know, I do go back and I look periodically at who's getting the most views, which video, and the ones that do, I try to do more of, because I want to do this for you guys, I want you to be happy when you're watching my videos. So I like to do things that you want to see. So if you have any suggestions or on videos that you'd like to see, I would love to hear those as well. Okay. All right, well, you all have a great day, and we will be back soon. Thank you very much for stopping by.